Hello, everyone. Um, I feel like an actual weight has been lifted off of me from uh, dealing with that trigger that I was talking about in the last video. Um, and so I thought I would walk people through kind of what I did. Um, because I don't know, maybe it will be helpful to somebody. Um, my friend bought a journal um, with key prompts and stuff, and you do like a little bit each day, and then it gets into deeper and deeper topics. And I think it could be a great way to um, dig into things. Um, and maybe that's the way that it happens for some people. And then I think there's, you know, instances like this where something obvious has come up and you need to dig deeper into it, and you need to know kind of like what is a way to deal with this. Um, and so I basically kind of gave myself my own prompts. Um, I kind of laid out what triggered me, and then I dealt with the varying aspects of that. And part of it was motherhood, part of it was just being an adult and still wanting to be um, in the in group, I guess, but more so um, wanting the kind of relationship with other women where we're supporting each other and that sort of thing, and including, and I don't think that, just to be clear, I don't think that was not happening. I think it just brought that to the surface for me. Um, I think actually all of the people that uh, were involved in this activity planning were actually doing that, and there's nothing that was very um, strict or anything on their part. It was just they're having fun and chit chatting, and that's how life goes. And it was kind of even in that realization in that moment that, if I had been there, I would have been participating in this, and I don't know that I would have even been aware enough to be like, should we be considering other people? And I might have been, because that is part of my personality at times. Um, but also maybe not. There's definitely been instances where, I like planning. I like, ooh, let's this idea and that idea. And so it was in that moment where I was really starting to step back and observe. Um, and then I think the deepest issue that I had was this brought up and triggered a lot of childhood um, things for me. Um, Being bullied relentlessly at times. And, you know, your support system is your parents. If your parents' life is kind of imploding and you're kind of imploding, and it just makes it harder. And I can remember my parents saying, it's just words. They don't really hurt, but words do really hurt. And, um, as a kid, I kept thinking, I shouldn't be hurt by this. I shouldn't be hurt by this, but it's hurting so bad. And so I really delved deep into that. There was a lot of emotional release through crying. And so I kind of started with those points, and then I just kind of let it flow out of me. And like I said, most of it dealt with childhood things. The motherhood and just being a woman, I feel like I'm coming into those things and I've kind of dealt with those things earlier. So maybe it's a little bit circling back into the spiral and just kind of starting off from those places and going deeper into the childhood trauma and trigger. So, but one of the things that I wrote that I think was really important, and I think this might help somebody else, is if I had joined, if I had been in the in group as a kid, if I hadn't been bullied, so I just put if you had joined, if you had belonged, would you be here? And that was really a pivotal think point for me, because these traumas, these triggers, they really help to shape us into who we are and how we grow. And when we choose to look back and reflect and dig deeper into these moments, and we see, well, if I had been in the in group, if I had been a different look, a different person, a different personality type, then I wouldn't be who I am now. I probably wouldn't have the things that are important to me now as a person, as a mother, might not be the same things that would be important to me. I might be more quote unquote mainstream. I might not have awakened. My life could look drastically different. And so it's being aware of these moments and not running away from these triggers and not letting our ego take over. Your ego really wants to keep you going in this safe circle because you know what's in the circle. And when we can move past ego and we start to go into this spiral, well, it does get hard. You do have to dig deeper, and you cry, and you have these emotional releases, and you're digging deep into these moments that were traumatic and painful, but then you're uncovering these parts of you that are also beautiful and amazing, and you realize these aren't you, but they're helping to discover who you are. And so I really thought that was a poignant point that, I don't know if that's even a right phrase there, but I thought it was a good point to bring up, that when you're dealing with these traumas, you wouldn't be here, you wouldn't be you. And I don't think I would undo all of that. And I don't think I would be me. And that's really huge, because would I give up being me and be whatever unknown thing? Well, I could do that in my next life. That's what happens each time. But, in this one, the things that I want to learn and things like that I came here to do, I needed this journey. And that's really important. I then kind of went through and made some, I would say they're more affirmations. And it's really interesting because I feel like when you're journaling, you're letting your higher self possibly come in and connect with you. You're possibly letting your ancestors come in and connect with you, or any other entity, your guides. And if you looked through my journaling, it would almost at times be like having a conversation with, between my ego and myself and my higher self, and probably my guides, and maybe even a grandparent or two. And those affirmations really helped me to kind of let go of that past and be ready for moving in to now, and just taking those experiences and saying, okay, we've gained what we need to for now from this experience, and it's time to move forward. And so that pressure cooker experience, like my meal is done. And, maybe I'll heat it up again and have leftovers. Maybe I'll can it or something. And I'll go further into that spiral than I did today. But for today, I'm complete and I'm satisfied. The affirmations really helped, and they got me to a point where I don't do tarot cards, but I do oracle cards. So I pulled oracle cards for myself. And even when I'm doing those, it's like those same different thought patterns come in. If you'll see oracle cards and they'll or well, not tarot cards, but oracle cards will say like what the card is and like a brief description, and then that comes with a book that you can know more. And frequently when I'm reading the book for more info, something will kind of kick off or key off, and it's like something else in my brain goes, oh, this is what you need to know about that. And so that can be a really beautiful and unique experience. And it was really interesting. The last card I pulled was charity, and that the little thing on the card would be prayer and contemplation. And my immediately, key thing was, it's time to meditate now. You're like, it's time to, let's finish this process off in meditation and kind of wrap it up and complete things. And so that was kind of my journey today. And I don't even know how long it was. Maybe it was an hour. So it doesn't have to be this deep thing. I did find it interesting to take note that around a year ago today, I did a women's retreat, or not today, but a year ago, whenever the weekend was. I think it was like April 30th and May 1st and 2nd or something like that. And it was a very pivotal, life-changing experience. And there was so much touched on in that retreat, and it was a beautiful experience. And I gosh darn hope I can have that experience again and go even deeper into me, because having somebody there to help prompt you and stuff is really amazing. And going through that experience with other women and just loving and supporting each other, it was my first real experience knowing that being around other women didn't mean like, it didn't have to be competition and cattiness and things like that. It could just be love and harmony and support. It was so beautiful. And I truly, from the depths of my heart, wish that all women can experience that at some point. Hopefully the earlier in their life, the better, because I think it's so life-changing. But at some point in your life, if you can experience that, and I know there are male retreats for men that offer, a similar experience too. And I would think for a man, it would be just as equally potent as well. And so I just found it observationally interesting that here I am almost just a little past a year later, and going through this really deep, intensive dive. And it also made me appreciate my growth and my awareness, and how far I've come. If I look back, I really started the quote unquote spiritual side of awakening during COVID. I feel like I had started other things that kind of prompted me up to that point, with medical freedom and things like that prior. But that was really my catalyst. And then if I look at before and now, I'm just in awe. And even just looking at a year ago to now, I'm in awe and an appreciation of myself. And it's one of those like, go me, like, wow, that was some like serious growth to stop in the middle of a trigger and realize it and become the observer, dive deeper, really, and I feel amazing right now. And I'm grateful for the people that have come around me in the last year. I'm aware of when something's not working and being self-worthy enough to say, this isn't working for me and I can't do this, and stepping back and away, and realizing in hindsight why that had to happen. I even said to my daughter today, she's talking about this is my oldest daughter. She wants to get a VR headset. She's very into gaming and stuff, and she tried to get one around Christmas time, and it literally didn't work out. Like, it would not work out. I tried everything she had saved the money, make it happen, and it just didn't work out. She ended up going with some other device or thing. And now she's finding out, well, a new one's coming out. It's actually not going to be, I think it's like $100 more or something. And she's all excited because it's going to have all these features and stuff. And it's just like, I said to her, sometimes we don't get what we want, but the universe is still taking care of us. And it's nice as a parent to be able to pass on to my 16-year-old and my 9-year-old and my 6-year-old and even my 3-year-old, and eventually little Nugget here, the many things that I'm learning at middle-aged, they're going to be able to carry into adulthood, and how that will hopefully set them up for not only success, but just better awareness as a person. And to me, in my heart, it's really beautiful too, because with parents doing these things now, we're all on the ground. And I know there's been many people that have been doing this for years. And I actually had one young lady at the retreat, and her mom had raised her with so much love and awareness, and it's beautiful to see her. I don't want to say blossoming, because she was already blossoming, but it's just beautiful to watch her and what she does. And knowing that my kids will have that same possibility. I don't want them, they're already kind of outside the matrix in the thinking. And I think that's kind of special and unique too. And I think these are the kids that are going to kind of start to change the world. And maybe I don't get to see it in this lifetime, but I know that's going to reverberate even more. It's really kind of cool to think about. I'll have had 5 kids, and thinking of all the lives that they'll touch because of all the changes and work I'm doing now. That's amazing. And we've said for a long time our 6-year-old is going to burn the world down, and maybe burning the old world down and relighting a new world, but she's going to burn the world down. It's amazing to hear her talk and speak and be so self-assured. And if you're in it right now, especially if you're a parent, but just anybody too, it's beautiful that you're working on yourself, that you're going through this process, that when something's triggering you, that you're finding out what you can do about it, and not just letting your ego take over and staying stuck in the circle. You're not on a carousel, you're on this really cool spiral slide that it kind of sucks sometimes because it drops and you go, ah! But there's also some amazing times where it wouldn't have been the same if you didn't do it. So this ended up being a little bit lengthier, but I really wanted to offer a follow-up for what that experience of being triggered and working through that process. And what works for me may not work for you. You know, you may be somebody that really wants to do a dedicated journal. I looked through and I was like, oh gosh, the last time I journaled was in March, you know, and it's May. Oh my goodness. That's kind of a while, and that's probably too long. And that may be something, you know, that was being pointed out to me as well. um, but it's it's just, it's so amazing, and it's so beautiful. And this kind of growth, you know, it's hard, but it's everyday life just seems to be getting a little bit better. It's like a picture that's kind of um, distorted and not perfect, but yet it's slowly, the lens is putting it into view so that it's perfect. And I really like that. So, um, so I hope that helps. It maybe. I hope you guys have a great day. I'm sure this video is going to take a while to upload, but I hope you enjoyed. And if you do other things that help you when you're triggered, if you can leave them in the comments, I would really appreciate it, because I'm exposed to some of the things that other people do, but I don't think this is something we talk about enough. What and how do we deal with triggers? So if you could put that in the comments, I'd really love and appreciate that. Have a great day.